This is the Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
We're talking about when you've been let go from a job, but they still want you to do some work, inspired by Don Pike's comments yesterday at old mate Simo's press conference, where it's like, oh, you're still going to coach, aren't you? He was like, we haven't had this conversation.
I'm amazed. There's so many people have got stories to add to this.
I know.
I'm looking forward to
People
hearing
are
more.
up and about. Heather's in Wellard. Hi, Heather.
Hey guys, how you going?
Great,
Good,
Heather.
Heather.
Tell us what happened.
So when I was about 16 years old, I worked at this little cafe, and I went in for my Saturday shift in the morning, and they decided to let me go. However, they didn't realise that everyone that day was going to call in sick. So as I was leaving and got into my parents' car, they rang me to come back and do the shift for the day.
Okay.
Oh.
Did you turn back and go and do the shift?
No, I did not.
No,
Good.
Well done,
What
Heather.
did your parents say?
They were just in shock because, obviously they thought because I'm 16 that I wasn't going to do it. I was going to come in and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How good's
No.
that, though?
Oh, that's so good, isn't
Because
it?
back then when I was 16, I probably would have gone, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because
it's
I
true.
would have been thinking, I don't want to get a good reference
Yes,
and they might
yeah.
give me a bad reference. But
Yeah.
I love that you stuck to your guns. That's
I know,
brilliant.
they're actor.
Yeah, good on ya.
I mean, from a boss's point of view, don't fire your staff until you know everyone else is coming to work.
Yeah.
That's right. Write that down, everyone.
Fire them at the end of the shift, not at the
Yeah,
beginning.
thanks, Heather.
Tips for being a good boss. Brittany's in High Wycombe. Hello.
Good morning.
Hey, Brett.
Okay, what happened to you?
I was about 18 or 19 and I worked for a contracting business, and I was front reception, I was the scheduler, I did a bit of everything. And I received a phone call one day from a recruitment agency asking if we needed help with our ad that was placed on Seek.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, what's the position for? And it turns out it was my position that they were asking if I needed help with. And I was like, oh, actually, no, thank you, we're fine. And then I cleaned up my desk, didn't say anything,
Yeah.
went to my boss's office, and I was like, thanks, I'm going to be going now. And then I explained the phone call that I received, and his face went white.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, we haven't hired anyone just yet. Can you stay till the end of the week?
No
but
way.
you're obviously going to, and you hadn't told me yet. How rude.
That is
I
disgusting.
left. I think I
course
was
you
at
left.
work for maybe 45 minutes,
Yeah.
and then I just packed up my shit and left.
Good on
oh,
you.
my
Well
God.
done, Brett.
Imagine that, running an ad without even telling them about it first.
This is the Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
We're stargazing at the moment because we're looking at the fine features of Pete Hellier.
Yeah.
He's bringing his new hour stand-up comedy. Pete Hellier gives zero flips. It'll
Zero
be
flips.
in Perth, August 10 at the Rechabite. Tickets from comedy.com.au.
Oh, flip off.
Good morning, Pete Hellier.
G'day, legends. Good to see you. Obviously, does it look like to you guys that I'm in witness protection?
Yes, it does.
does.
So
Bit
you've
of
got
a haze over your face,
very
Pete.
bright window behind you, so we can't actually see your features. But it, looks like a nice day in Melbourne today.
Oh, it's always a glorious day this time of year in Melbourne.
Is
It's,
it-
it's
Are you at your house right
positively
now?
balmy.
Where are you right now?
I'm in Melbourne. I'm at home.
Yeah. So I can see your neighbour's roof very close. Are you friends with your neighbours?
Yeah, Frank. Frank's a good bloke. I think there's a few tennis balls we need to collect from those gutters,
Yeah,
actually.
you can see them. You can see them.
Because it's always a decision, isn't it, whether you want to be friends with your neighbours or not? Because sometimes when you open that can of worms, it can be bad. Especially being Pete Hellier.
Well, especially being next door to Sean because he wants a lot.
I do.
Yeah, yeah.
I get things done
Yeah,
for all the retirees.
Sean borrows stuff off of all of his neighbours, and if he needs something done at his house, he goes over and asks them their advice on it very heavily, so they will come back and do it for him.
This is almost like the first street I've lived in as an adult where I'm kind of friends. There's a lovely neighbourhood vibe. Like the streets I've lived on as an adult haven't really had the house. I lived on a bit of property. The last house so everyone was a bit removed.
Yeah.
But this is a lovely family vibe. So Frank's a good bloke. Looks after our tomatoes when we're away.
Fantastic.
Good work, Frank.
Hey, Pete, looking forward to you coming over here and performing. I'm not sure if you knew that Natalie has just opened for Joel Creasy just recently. She was wondering where the phone call was for
Yeah.
your
Do you need
invitation.
me to open for you, Pete?
Oh, sorry, you're breaking up, guys. You're breaking up. Joel's way more generous than I am. I want the whole.
Yeah, you want all the money.
myself, to be absolutely honest. But,
fair enough.
Let's chat, Nat. How'd you go?
Yeah, it was. Well, I don't want to toot my own horn or anything, Pete, but I wasn't booed off stage, so it went all right.
Yeah, that was a really bad toot, Nat. Not being booed off stage is the minimum requirement.
No, it was actually heaps of fun. I had a really good time, and the audience seemed to too, which is good.
Yeah, great. Well done.
You don't have an
Thank you.
opener. You don't have an opener,
No,
Pete.
lots don't, Sean. It's not that unusual.
No, I don't tend to have an opener. It's something that I kind of don't mind the idea of. Sometimes it's got to do with the venue as well, like how long you have the venue for. Do they want a break, and all that. But hey, listen, I'll say this: if an opener is available, if it fits in with the time, I'm more than happy to have you open the show, Nat. Genuinely.
It's not like you were put on the spot for that at all, Pete. Thank
But
you.
the thing about it, though, is sometimes when I go to a restaurant, I see all the entrees and all that sort of stuff. Sometimes you just want the main meal, Sean.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
You know
I get
what
it.
I mean?
I get it.
Yeah, I don't want the pageantry around a bloody salad or some garlic bread or a couple of croquets.
Want to get right into that lasagna, don't you know?
Yes, right into the bechamel.
I hate being guilted into salad, to be honest. I call it show-off salad. You just order it, just say, yes, we're adults, we've got some salad on the table.
Hey, Pete, I was making a sandwich yesterday, and as I was putting Rocket in there, I was going, why? Who am I putting in this here for? Because I don't really want Rocket in here, but I'm doing it so this sandwich has some green in there. But, like, why am I doing
You
it?
didn't even put it on Instagram, so it wasn't even for that, Pete.
Oh, yeah. So it's the pressure of salad. It's a lot.
It is. There's no nutritional value in it either. That's what the research I've done.
Famously.
Your research.
We live in an age where we all get to do our own research, and the research I've done is there's no nutritional value in it. So why would I eat it?
That's right.
The only thing that Rocket does in my sandwich is it covers the 3 processed meats that I have in there.
Hey, Pete, what's your walkout?
If you want a little bit of rocket with your turducken, sure.
Pete, what's your walkout song? We were having a chat about
It was a
different.
big
We were
debate.
talking about it with Natalie. What's yours?
It's a song by Those Crooked Vultures, which was a side project that Dave Grohl was
deep
involved
cut.
with. Years ago. So that's my walk-on. And my walk-off is a song by Nathaniel... Oh, what's his name?
Morris? Nathaniel Morris?
No, not Nathaniel.
Unicorn?
Not Nathaniel Morris. It's a song called I Need Not Get Old or something like that, because there's a bit of a theme about, I turn 50 next year, so it's a bit of a theme. So it's a cracking song, actually. I'm giving it a bad plug. I'm tuning his horn worse than that.
Hey, are you going to do a big blowout for your 50th? I'm not a birthday person, and Sean and I talk about it, and we don't really do too much for our birthdays, and so I would just think that down the track we're going to regret that we didn't.
I'm the same way. I haven't. The last full-on birthday I had was my 30th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't have. Oh no, sorry, I had a 40th. I had a big 40th actually. So
That was really good.
So big you can't remember it.
actually, I had a big 48th as well.
Pete Hellier is headed our way. August 10, he'll be playing the Rechabite, his show. Pete Hellier gives 0 flips. He's still standing by from his home studio in Melbourne. Pete, we did want to ask you about the Adam Simpson situation.
Yeah, Pete, you know a lot about footy. You mad Collingwood supporter,
Yeah.
as you know,
Great
as we
mates
all
with
know.
Strawny.
What about that footy show you had on Channel 10? I really enjoyed that back in the day.
Before the game, that was I think a 12-year show that ran for, and
So
very
when
proud
was
of
that played? Was that
That was Saturday night, so just after
Before
the
the
game.
game?
But it was generally after the game, wasn't it, Pete?
was it after the game?
Well, it was between the games. Actually. No, you're both right.
You gave out a Tool Award, the Tool of the Week or something?
Tool of the week. Yeah, which culminated in Tool of the Year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and that's where Strawny was kind of born in before the game, and that was maybe the most fun show I've ever worked on.
So Pete, you would have seen the front page of the West Australian yesterday. It made national headlines. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I'm a bit torn because I think Adam Simpson probably deserves more respect, but I'm also glad that they didn't run a picture of him hoisting the 2018 Premiership Cup with Shannon Hearn on the front page. So
Why is that? Why is that, Pete? Why does that hurt
no
so
reason.
much?
No reason that. I just there's been some therapy done over the last 6 or so years,
Yeah.
and I think
You don't want to be
progress
triggered.
on it.
Yeah.
So I don't
I was there
necessarily
that
wanna go
day,
back to
Pete. It was amazing. You were there too, obviously. Yeah, you would have been there.
I
Yeah.
was there. I was
Yeah, it's
there.
good, wasn't it?
Last year was better. Last year was a fun year of football. I thought. No, I think a premiership winning coach deserves a bit more respect
100%.
on the way out.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It did seem like it was a bit of backlash from the West about the comments that, in reaction to the comments Simo made in his presser about the way that,
People are cruel, he said.
Journalists in particular, and then he named the guy that had asked the question, and it felt like that was a little bit of retaliation, don't you reckon?
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, it just wasn't particularly classy,
No.
and with that said, if the West Australian are reviewing my show, they can do what they like. They can do what they like.
I really thought you've been sitting on the fence that whole time, and now you've come clean.
So at the press, it's all over the news at the moment. What Adam Simpson said as he was walking out to the presser to
He's cleared that up.
Yeah. So what was it?
It was about Bailey Williams' moustache, is what he said. He said, you've got to get rid of that. It's
Because
what
there
he
was
said to
all
him.
these
Yeah.
things of you've had
I
your
saw that.
say.
I saw there's all this controversy
Yes,
about what
yes.
he may have said.
Yeah.
And then I was listening to the clip and I was listening at home and I was going, how can anyone tell any of this sort of stuff?
Because they were jumping to conclusions because
Yes.
Harley Reid was sitting next to him, and there were people saying that what they thought he said was, "You've had your say."
You've had your say.
But no, what he was saying, Simo said last night that he didn't even notice that Harley Reid was next to him because he was looking at Bailey Williams, and he said, "You got to get rid of that moustache."
Well, that's right. They started the conversation that Harley was the one who made Simo left.
Yes.
It's...
Yeah, people I think had zoomed in on Harley Reid's face, and he had a smile, probably laughing at
the
what
fact
Simo
that
said about the moustache.
correct,
Yeah.
And drew the the next.
there were a lot of conclusions being jumped to.
And then there was all
nothing.
Daisy Pearce turned around and
Yes.
gave him a filthy look like your mum would when you've said something bad. And it's like, oh
but
my
maybe
God, the
she
whole
hates
thing
the
was...
moustache too.
Yeah.
Blown out of the proportion once again.
Yeah, it's a terrible situation to be in, Pete. And luckily your club never turns on itself either, so that's good.
Well, look, we're a very happy club. We are the reigning premiers. The opportunity to go back to back is still alive.
No, it's not.
Oh, come on, Pete.
Very much is.
I mean, mathematically possible, but yeah.
Mathematically possible. We are. If Jamie Elliott takes that mark on Anzac Day in the dying moments and scores a point, if Lockie Sullivan hands the ball back to the umpire against Freo, we'll be sitting second on the ladder or third on the ladder. So we're okay. We're okay at the Pies. We'll beat the Cats this week, and yeah.
Your season's over
I mean,
if you don't.
I'm trying to sell it to myself too.
Well, you sold it to us, mate.
Yeah.
And you sold your show.
Yes, that's right.
Yep.
Pete Hellier gives zero flips. Check it out.
I love the
He's
name.
a very funny man. The record.
And there are only legitimately there are like 20 tickets left. So
Snap 'em up.
Jump on this morning and snap them up.
Yeah, I think the West Australian are going to buy them and do a special report.
Thanks for chatting, Pete. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks, legends.
Thanks,
Love
mate.
yous.
Nathan, Nat, and Sean in podcast form.
We're talking about giving strangers a lift, and I've just had a sudden flashback to when I was in New Zealand, and I was driving from Queenstown to Lake Tekapo, and I was getting messages on my phone, and so because I was on my own, I pulled into a little rest area to check my phone, and I'm just sitting there, and then I think, okay, I'll answer the message. I can go now. And then there's a knock on my window.
Yeah.
And there's this young bloke standing there. And I wind the window down. I'm like, hello? And he said, he was Austrian. And so I won't do his accent, but it sounded a little bit like Arnie. And he said, we're about to run out of petrol and we realise that we're too far from the
Get me
next
to the
petrol
chopper.
station. Yeah. And he goes, would you be able to drive me to the town? He said, which way are you going? And I said, that way. He said, can you drive me there? And I'm like, okay. And then, so then I'm thinking, he said, I'll just go and grab my stuff or whatever. There were three of them travelling in a car together. And so I'm like, this is a bad idea. This is a bad
you know
idea.
better.
This is a bad idea. I know better than this. Anyway, okay, no worries. And then he comes back and then he said, my friend's coming too. So then so I've taken my bag off the passenger seat and put it in the back because I thought there was just one guy getting in. So then there's two guys in my car, complete strangers. I don't know who they are. And one of them's in the back seat with my handbag. And I'm like,
Yeah.
And then I can't reach around and get it or do anything.
Oprah did so many episodes on how women should stay safe. And
I know.
You
I broke
went
every
against
rule. I
every
listened
single
to
rule.
all the murder
you went to
podcasts,
a
Nathan.
second destination.
But once
All
the
of it.
person says, "Can I have a lift?" What do you? How do you say no?
And I spent the whole time like eyeing the guy in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
Bet.
But it was fine. I just dropped them where they needed to go, and I'm like, "How are you going to get back?" And they said, "Oh, we'll just ask someone
Did you
else."
survive?
No, I got
She's
murdered.
dead. Louise is in Gosnells. Hey, Lou.
Hi, good morning, guys.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, Lou. We're
Great.
talking about the magic of giving a stranger a lift when they don't really even give you a choice. What happened?
So I was on Orong Road and I was minding my own business at a set of lights, and I had someone run up the back of me, and we got out and we, exchanged particulars, and I was in an area that's, maybe not the best. She was missing a couple of teeth, and when I looked in the car, there was empty Coke cans. There was they were both her and her passenger, who was about 13 or 14, was both smoking, and there was just. The ashtray was full. It was disgusting. Anyway.
The ashtray was full.
You really
I didn't even know cars have ashtrays.
You've painted the exact picture that
that's
we're
how
all
old the
thinking.
car was.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then basically she was like, I just don't know what happened. I think my brakes failed. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah. And I think she was just distracted. But anyway, and she's like, I've got to get my friend's daughter to work.
The one
And I was
that's
like,
smoking?
Oh, okay. Yeah, the 13, 14-year-old. And to Hungry Jack's in Bibra Lake or Jandakot.
Oh!
And I was, so not close. It's down Roo Highway a bit, and, and so she's like looking at me, and I'm like going, okay, she's like, I just don't know if I should drive because of the brakes. And I was thinking, oh, God. I know I've got my 10-year-old daughter in the back seat of my car.
What was she smoking?
And, she was not. She was busy just watching her iPad on the back of the front seat there.
Yeah, but she was watching porn. Anyway, keep going. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, she's like, "Oh, do you mind if you take her to work?" And I'm like,
Whoa!
Yeah, I suppose.
Do you mind if
so,
I take her to work?
in gets this 13, 14-year-old in the back seat with my daughter. And then I was like, okay, so whereabouts do you work? She's like, just down the road a bit. And then she gives me the address, and I'm like, it's like Bibra Lake. And I'm heading down to Gosnells. I mean, it wasn't anywhere.
It's not even close to being on the way.
30 minutes out of my way. And then about 5 minutes before we got to Hungry Jack's, she just winds down the window and starts a cigarette.
She's got a long day of work ahead of her, Louise.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything because she might injure me or my daughter.
She might injure me or my daughter. This Durry smoking 13-year-old in your front seat.
And then I dropped her off. She's like, oh, thanks, and gets out. And we're like, okay.
Look, you can't blame her for wanting to have a dart before she started the shift.
Exactly. That's an amazing story.
Nathan, Nat, and Shaun in podcast form.
When we last spoke to the governor, he was at the Nullarbor Roadhouse,
In
actually.
South
We're giving him
Australia.
some suggestions on other roadhouses he can stop on the way back for food. And we were wondering if he was going to get here in time to have a chat to us live.
The answer's no.
Yeah. And as we know, when you're driving a great distance, you always think, am I making good time?
Yeah.
How am I going with time? Mm-hmm. The timing seems all out.
Well, it's 8:12. Jeremy McGovern, where are you?
How are you guys?
Wonderful.
I've fallen a couple hours short. I'm in Cunderdin.
Okay.
Oh, Cunderdin,
Jeremy
okay.
McGovern.
school?
Yeah, not,
Come on, did you have a sleep in? Did you? What happened?
oh, not exactly, no. I was actually up earlier than we wanted to get up, but we had to rest. Obviously, Nathan, as you know, you can't just be driving tired. We need to do the responsible thing.
You
Yes.
really do.
Well said, Gov.
So
Drive,
where
revive.
did you stay the night, Gov?
We stayed in Norseman last night.
Lovely.
Oh,
Delightful
Norseman.
part of the world, isn't it?
Did you go and take the photo with the horse there, Norseman?
Nah, look. No, I didn't. That wasn't on top of my priority list.
Okay.
Hey, what's surprising do you get stung when you're at these roadhouses?
Mate, way cheaper than... Well, inflation obviously hasn't hit him out there, that's for sure. 'Cause
It stopped at the border.
Like, how much was that? How much was your BLT?
most of the... I think that was like $17.
Yeah, right.
For, obviously, they give you chips and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But it was, for like a meal,
Yeah.
you know, you're looking at $35 in Perth for that for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%.
Hey, that's a good score, Gov.
So that's all we've got to do is
also-
drive that way to get a cheap feed.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah, 100%. Or I was going to say I can Uber Eats for that bloke. He spoke about the steak sandwich, said it was really nice. I could have bought it back for him.
To be honest, you're not home yet. Why don't you just swim back and get us one?
Yeah. I've got plenty of time on my hands. I'll just stand around for him.
Hey, Gov.
But that's part of the reason I'm late.
Yeah,
Is
right.
because if you're stopping all the time to
Yes.
eat, you're chewing up half an hour. And then
Yeah.
before you know it's been 2 hours. So
Yeah.
I did hit the Southern Cross Roadhouse on just before, and Daddy was home.
Daddy was
That's how it's meant to be spread out. The WA Bay Maries, they know how to have it ready to go. Jump straight back in your car and get moving.
Yeah, okay, good call.
Can you put us on speaker for a second? You've got Maddie
You're
there.
on speaker.
Yeah.
Maddie's here just trying not to laugh at my gag.
Hi, Maddie. Hey,
Maddie.
how's he been, Maddie? Has he been like a nice, calm passenger? Does
Is he a passenger princess?
Yeah, what's he like?
Amazing.
Go on, be honest. No, be honest.
No, he's been great.
What a great way to spend time
It's not
together.
overly convincing.
Hey, Maddie, are you more in love with him than you were a week ago because of this time you've spent?
No comment.
Yeah. This is the time where you question everything you've done. Why did I accept that ring?
Why is this person
Why do we have
sleeping in my
children
bed?
Yeah. I was wondering why Maddie put her hand up so quick, and I just realised she just wanted to get away from the 3 kids.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
So, Gov, you're back here for Sunday's game, obviously. So you'll make sure you see Simo before or after the game?
Yeah. I'll obviously get back today, and then hopefully catch him over the next couple of days. And if I don't, I'll definitely obviously be there at the game to obviously see him off. And like obviously Simo's a major reason I want to come back, but also like Liam Ryan's 100th game. You know, a fair bit going on at the club the last week, and I just feel like I think we need everyone on deck and everyone just supporting each other through this week in this game. So we'll I'll head into the club tomorrow and see the boys and send Simo off.
Absolutely. Now, I've seen Simo do a couple of interviews since post him finishing up at the West Coast Eagles. It's amazing how you can see the relief has
that's
come off him.
Oh, mate.
He's talking
100%.
completely
Night and
different.
day.
The energy level in him is quite
It
amazing.
looks like us when we're about to go on holidays.
But
It is.
yes,
It
but
is,
also,
though.
Sean, because he's no longer coaching the club, he can be on it. Like you're not having to talk the party
guarded.
line and that sort of thing
Hey,
as well. Yeah.
A lot of people have been writing and commenting on the fact that Adam is going to go out and doing the coin toss,
coin toss.
and they've said, "Boy, he should be doing. There should be something a little bit more for him." Sean, what do you think?
Well, I just don't think that he wants that. I'm
Me
sure they would
neither.
have offered him a whole lot of different things.
I think
but
he's like,
he just doesn't want to.
give me the bare minimum thing that you want me to do.
And I'm sure, and Gov be able to attest to this, I'm sure even the coin toss for him to be out there in the middle for
Oh,
that
be a
period
lot.
of time might be a lot for him, yeah.
Yeah, look, I think he just doesn't really want to make it about himself and understands that the club's moving on. And like you said, he's relieved that he's in a way that he's finishing up. So I think the coin toss is nice. The club's offering all this stuff up for him and just see how he goes with it.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting. Hopefully he wins it for us, but I think it's just for him just to acknowledge.
If he loses you the coin toss,
Yes,
that's
that's it.
another statistic he wants next to his name.
Just wait for the West on Monday.
It's the Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
Nathan's still talking about his clothes.
It's really into it. It's really into it. Well, it's got a deal.
It's a lot.
So he has gone down the rabbit hole and it's got him by the leg. He's
Yep.
stuck down there in the Warren.
Yep.
We're worried that we can't get him back. So we need to hear your stories of negative Temu
Thank you, Natalie, because
experiences.
I'm right now I'm living in a positive world of Temu, and I need to be frightened out of it because otherwise this is going to be dangerous, and you're going to be getting crocheted alien hangers and.
Well, we call this guy Temu. Hello, Tim.
That was clever.
Hey.
Don't do it, Nathan.
Thanks.
Don't do it.
Okay, so talk to us. Why not?
What happens?
So it was literally only just a couple of weeks ago. I got absolutely Temu'd. So I'll admit it. I'm a bit of a plane nerd, so I like to collect my models.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
you can get this cool little metal kind of plane models and all the rest of it. And I was like, yeah, awesome. I got this really cool, doesn't matter which type, KLM. Anyway.
No, it doesn't matter. It
Royal
does
Dutch
matter.
Airlines have flown
It
them.
does. It does matter which
Royal
type.
Dutch, mate.
Doesn't matter which one. So anyway, so I get all these models come in. I thought, oh, that's weird. That one's missing. And then inside the box, down the bottom, was this little kind of cardboardy, or say a bit of paper, and it had like a Pikachu to kind of cut out and make yourself. And I was like, that's really strange. I didn't order that. So I kind of gave it to my daughter. I was like, go, have fun.
Yeah.
Then I realised, I look a bit further, inside the box was about 20 sheets of white paper printed out with a model of this plane that wasn't there.
Oh, wait, it was a model for a paper plane?
I had to make it.
It was the IKEA version of a model plane.
But it wasn't like one of those cardboard ones where it's like serrated edges where you pull it out and clip it in or anything. It was literally like A4 sheets of paper that they got from Officeworks and just printed.
Whacked it through
So you had to get the scissors and cut around as well?
How much was it? How much was it?
It was about $19.
$19 you spent on that?
You could have done that yourself.
Wait, what was the $19 supposed to buy you? An actual model of a plane?
Yeah. My wife reacted the same way.
How many models of planes do you have, Tim?
Not many. It's a new thing.
Okay.
It all started when I bought the Concorde Lego, and then it just kind of
It's rolled on from there. Sorry.
It's been a slippery slope there.
Let's go back to this. How much Lego do you have, Tim?
Oh, that's another story altogether. That's a lot. Not me. My wife is she just built the almost 2 metre high Eiffel Tower. So that was
my God!
So you're now into model planes, and your wife's into Lego.
100%, yeah.
Oh, you're my kind of couple.
Hey,
And
Tim,
but the kids are managing the stock portfolio, so it's fine.
Tim, is she good enough to be on Lego Masters? That'd obviously be a show that you'd be up for.
Oh, she always talks about it. She's pretty good. She can. The problem is with Lego now, it's not really a challenge. Like she'll just sit there and bang one out in a night, and then she's like, "Oh, that was okay."
Wow.
That was okay.
Good times down at your house, isn't it, eh?
I know.
Good on you. Thanks, Tim. Kirsten, hello.
Hello.
Hi, Kirsten.
All right, Kirsten. Nathan needs to hear some cautionary tales about Temu. What have you got for him?
The paper plane didn't do it. I'm still in.
Wow.
Yeah.
So my partner bought, he thought he was buying Nike and Hugo Boss like tracksuit sets, like jumpers and pants.
Yeah.
So, but, just didn't look closely enough at the symbols. So the Nike one's got the tick and the IKE, got no N. And then the Hugo Boss one, so it's Ike, yes. And then the Hugo Boss one is spelled BQSS.
No trademark on that.
It's like they sent me the wrong things, and I'm like, honey, maybe go back and have a look at the actual pictures.
No, they sent me the wrong things. No, it was $4. They sent you the right thing.
Yes, exactly.
Hey, Kirsten, is the quality of the stuff good, or is it just?
It's smaller than he thought, but it's nice and thick and warm.
Yeah, the fabric's good. It's put together right.
Dad was the first person in my family to jump on Temu, which is amazing because Dad doesn't trust internet shopping. And Dad got some stuff sent over, but he ended up buying some tops for him and Mum. And the material is something that it's not far from Christmas wrapping.
Really?
Highly synthetic.
Highly synthetic sort of thing. Yeah. So, I mean, I personally wouldn't buy clothing from there.
Yes.
So that has not persuaded me either. So this whole segment didn't do its job.
Well, that's because I think you've decided you want to be pro Temu.
No,
I'm not
going to be buying like knockoff Gucci and stuff like that.
You say that now.
I don't do that sort of stuff. You know me. I'm simple. Uniqlo. Simple boy.
Yeah, have you bought any Uniflow?
I haven't checked for Uniqlo though. I'll chuck it in today.
This is a podcast of Nathan, Nat, and Shaun.
Ellen Ritchie.
Sorry, Ben. 4.
Shana Burgess.
Room for improvement. 4.
Mark Wilson.
Come on, Ben, you can do it. 4.
That's right, everybody. He blew the judges away last night on Dancing with the Stars. A hidden talent none of us knew he had. Neither did he.
Ben Cousins.
Good morning.
Cuzzy.
I knew this one was coming. It's been a long build-up.
Yeah. Ben, you did film this quite a while ago, so tell everyone when it started, because you've been...
So I started practicing just after New Year. And then... and that went on and off for six odd weeks, and then spent 6 weeks up in Sydney for the filming.
So wait there. So that was 6 weeks of practice, that dance?
I know where you're going with
So
that.
I know what to say. Did they not have 8 weeks up their sleeve?
So basically, all I'm trying to say is I've had a long time to sit and wait for this, and even I've known. In the limited stuff I know about TV, even the cleverest editing wasn't going to be able to spin this.
Well, they just would have had to blur the whole thing, Ben, wouldn't they? No, I'm going to say it's not as bad as what you're thinking it is.
No.
But my favourite thing about you, Ben, was the look on your face. You had that smile on your face like, oh, shit, this is happening.
Complete terror.
I'm hearing you. You know, and you do. I couldn't have done one more hour of dancing. So it wasn't through lack of effort or
It's
application.
not easy. It's tough. There's no doubt about it.
It is. But I was surprised at how sensitive I did get about some of the comments. And whilst I did find it very humorous, I do like the phrase presenting.
Yes.
I do find that funny.
Yes,
but
because that was you sticking your butt out.
Yeah, to the nation. So I can honestly say, even today, there's not a shop window that I don't walk past and I give a double take to see how my ass is looking. I've become very self-conscious.
One of the things I was worried about where before you were about to walk down the stairs and start the foxtrot was how much you were going to sweat up whilst you're doing that.
Yes.
Now, we saw that you ran out of breath, but we did a show last year for the first time in a while, and you sweated like a good horse, Ben.
Oh.
So how were you just before then?
Oh, mate, if I was in the mounting yard before the race, if I was a horse, you wouldn't have your money on me. I know that. But, you know, after the performance, I took my jacket off, and it was as dripping as ever, if not more than I've ever been playing football. So I guess that's the dance component, but also the nerves and doing it, and that was a big stretch for me. I must admit. The other 6 days of the week, I really enjoyed, and I felt after some time quite safe in the confines of a studio just with my dance partner. But then.
When there's people watching
when
and judging.
there's lights, cameras, a crowd,
Got the spray on.
But also, let's talk about the pressure, right? We all know TV, right? We've been in this industry for a while. The most popular, the person that they hang everything on that the ratings are going to be there for is the last person to dance. It's the last person to come down those stairs. That was you. All the pressure was on you because people knew, and that's why they had you on the first episode. They want to hook people in because everyone wants to see how Ben Cousins does. You had to. Did you realise that was happening?
Well, bring it home. Yeah, you know.
Now, Kaz, a few years ago, we caught up with Dave Wirapanda, who was on this show as well, and he hated being on this show and was begging. We were telling people to vote for him. It was back when they used to vote, and he would say, "No, don't vote me," and he hung up on us because we were encouraging people to vote for him to keep him there. Did you ask him for any advice?
Well, there's a story to this. So I purposely, when I was starting to entertain the idea of going on the show, I didn't want to hear what Wira had to say about it. I didn't want to know.
Probably don't talk to Danny Green either.
Then after it was announced, he did call up the next day, and I answered the phone, and he said, "Brother, why didn't you talk to me first?" And I told him, I said, "Listen," I said, "I didn't want to know what you had to say." You know, it is very hard, this show, and I'd heard that you need to put in a lot of time and effort and training. You know, Wira was a very naturally gifted, athlete. He didn't like training for football, so how was he going to go at dancing? So I said, I'm going to try and put myself in a slightly different category, but maybe I should have listened to him. It has been a bit of humour.
The thing is, though, you don't know if your body moves that way until try and move your body that way. So, people that twerk, so many people, Sean, you can probably twerk. I don't have the muscles in my body or the arse you'd be able to do, Ben.
You'll be fine, Ben.
You can drop it like it's hot.
You can shake up Sean's protein drink in your ass.
We're still having a chat to Ben Cousins. Of course, he's on Dancing with the Stars
Put
last
the sequins
night.
away.
Yeah, lovely tie. Looked amazing. Cuz, you did say you really enjoyed it once you got going. And so there's two things. You really enjoyed it. There's a fitness component because you were dancing like 8 hours a day type of stuff.
And you're listening to some of your favourite songs.
and I also want to get how personal it gets between you and your dancer because you're right up in a grill all the time.
Yeah, well, it's a unique. The whole dance world, has been something that I have.
So many of them hook up.
It's sort of like going snorkeling for the first time. There's a whole different world under there, but this is much the same, and I hadn't been exposed to it at all. but I did love it. And, a big part of why I enjoyed the show so much, I had an incredible dance partner, and I really did fall in love with the way she and the other pro dancers moved. It is something else. And pretty quickly it just became about just how good an opportunity it was to be able to dance with somebody like that.
Well, they're athletes,
day in, day out. Yeah, you're just not exposed to that ever, really. And so I did love it.
When you're holding your partner for the first time, right? So it's like, when you're on a date with someone or you've been with someone for a while, you might dance like that somewhere.
It's very intimate.
You're grinding up next to them.
You're right, Sean. It's easier just to sleep with them at the start. And just get it out of the way. Like, you're like, I know we don't know. Let's just do it. Let's go hardcore. And then afterwards, everything's going to be easy.
Did you feel a bit,
Oh, well, that's a big part of it. Like dancers, they're so used to the touching or the
but you're not.
Yes, and that you sort of got to just go with it, and pretty quickly it just becomes part of the training and that. But even learning the steps was one thing, but then there's that whole. You've actually got to, not just dance it, but perform
you've got to sell it.
and you've got to, and the acting and all that, which
the way you knock on the door at the beginning, amazing. I was convinced.
I found all that stuff as hard as any of it. There's only
it's the
how
acting,
I can knocking on the door, but I can do it normally. Why can't I do it? But it. Some of the performers, or some of the actors rather, or singers, when they go to dance, they come to life when it's time to perform, and that was cool to watch. And because it was so foreign to us, it's why it's been so good for us. It sort of push you and get you out of your comfort zone.
Hey Ben, it's a bit of a serious question. So we all know your history and the troubles that you've had. When doing a show like this, you realise that all the press are going to rewrite those stories, and it's going to be presented as part of your package. How are you with that now? Like, are you now? When you go through a time and then you don't want to talk about it, are you now at the stage where it's an easy thing to discuss, or is that a bit of a sting still?
No, listen, I'm fully aware of the path that I've been down. I'm just in a totally different space in my life.
So
I think it's been given. Yeah, well, it's I try to remind myself of where I've come from, but I'm just in a different place. I'm just more interested in so much else that's going on in my life. It's not that I'm reluctant to talk about it when the situation comes along. It's just I'm just invested in all the other good things that
There's
are in my
more
life.
to your life now.
But it is what's happened. Is I can't change that, and it's but it's nice to be moving through that and out the other side.
And as time gets away from all your troubles, it's an easy thing to talk about. It's like losing someone, really. Right? Like when I lost my brother, it was so hard to talk about. Now I can talk about it and I'm fine. So once you get a bit departed from the trauma, it's
totally
easier. You're a bit more detached.
Yeah, and just I'm just in a different place. Life is good,
you're dancing.
Well, just even the fact
you're presenting your ass to Australia.
You're dancing and you've got a puppy. Like, what else do you need?
Yes, but the fact that I've taken on that show and given it a go is just an indication of the different space I'm in, because I know that prior I just never would have been able to do something like that.
Can I say,
we're going to get Ben to hang around.
This is the first time that you've been on our show ever. Do you know that?
That's
21, 22 years. Isn't that amazing?
That is.
Nathan, Nat and Sean is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au. Nova.